It's just been nuts in Minneapolis. In this one Minneapolis home, these totally out of control, heavily armed officers broke down the door and rammed their way inside as the homeowner demanded to see a warrant allowing them to enter. The Associated Press reporting tonight that those agents didn't have a warrant from a judge authorizing their forced entry into a private residence, but they just did it anyway into a home with kids inside, apparently completely disregarding any applicable law. This was today in Minneapolis as well. A man named Christian Molina, a U.S. citizen, was driving south on 36th Street in South Minneapolis. He says he inadvertently made eye contact with an ICE officer who was lurking in an alley watching cars go by. The ICE agent then chased him and literally rammed his car into Mr. Molina. Rammed his car into Mr. Molina's vehicle, into the rear driver's side of his car, and then demanded that Mr. Molina show his papers. Mr. Molina is a U.S. citizen. According to the Minneapolis Star-Tribune tonight, quote, as agents confronted Christian Molina, dozens of community members came outside to disrupt them. The people who responded to that scene included a Minneapolis City Council member who told the paper that after Mr. Molina told the agents he knew his rights and that this was an illegal stop, and he didn't need to show them anything. And after all those people poured into the street to support this guy, the agents, I kid you not, what did they do? They set off 2 tear gas canisters in the street and then ran away. That was their contribution to public order and safety in South Minneapolis today. Here's another standoff from this weekend. A woman in Minneapolis ordered DoorDash, and ICE apparently chased the woman doing the delivery for DoorDash, chased her into the customer's home where she was dropping off the food because she works for DoorDash. The homeowner, in a fit of righteous rage, absolutely stood her ground and told ICE that they were not coming into her home to get this woman, that they needed a warrant to do it. And if they didn't have that warrant, she was not letting them in. And she called the cops on them, and she called her neighbors, and her neighbors came out, and everybody was standing there blowing whistles and yelling at them. And eventually they left and they drove away without the freaking DoorDash driver who they were trying to pursue like she was Osama bin Laden into the caves, right? They fled, they left, they drove away after terrorizing everyone in that home and on that block. Even today, an hour outside Minneapolis, in St. Cloud, Trump's agents, dozens of them, tried to muster some kind of military-style show of force at a mini-mall parking lot in St. Cloud, Minnesota. They were soon surrounded by hundreds of local residents telling them to get out. They were so overwhelmed with the way the neighborhood responded, Trump's agents got stuck there in the mini-mall parking lot. A Democratic state senator had to intervene to ask the crowd to please let the federal agents leave because they otherwise couldn't. Finally, after about an hour, people allowed these tough guy masked agents to turn tail and leave with their tails between their legs. This is how they're conducting themselves. They would appear to have absolutely no clue what they are doing. This is not what professional immigration law enforcement looks like. What this looks like is military-style weapons and gear given to masked, unbadged secret police who appear to have learned their tactics by playing video games about real wars and fantasizing about being scary to women. And if they think by what they're doing, they are attracting people to their cause or intimidating people into not turning out to protest against them, or to not turning out to watch what they're doing, to record what they're doing. Well, they're very seriously wrong about that. I mean, this is also today in Minneapolis. Local school kids in Minneapolis en masse walking out of their school to tell Trump's federal agents to leave them alone and get out of their town.